Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. It's J. Rye World. Thank you so much for being here. And today we have another new episode. I have some very special people that join me today because we all worked together many years ago at the Disney Store. We're going to be answering the question, what was it like to work at the Disney Store? Sadly, a lot of the stores are closing, and this was sort of the inspiration to do this episode, was because they're closing them down. And so I brought two great friends here today to talk about it. I've got Jackie, I've got Eric, and we're going to get to answer that question. What was it like to work at the Disney Store? And we all worked together at the South Coast Plaza Disney Store. So Jackie, what do you remember about, your first starting there, or how you even found out about this place?
But I remember going in to be Christmas help. I was still working in the school systems, and I needed extra income. And so I thought, what a great place to go. And I remember interviewing with Pat and just everything seemed so, strict. It wasn't like it was strict, but it was just, everything was very professional.
It's very professional.
Very
buttoned up.
It was. It seemed very professional.
The SOP manual was like this thick on all the rules.
Two of them. Yeah, it just seemed very professional, very high energy, very professional. The people there seemed very, just very on top of things, very warm and very expressive. So,
do you remember about what year that was you started?
That was November of 90.
90, okay. And Eric, how about you?
Oh, the year?
Just how it started.
Oh, how it started. Okay. As I was kind of mentioned to you a little earlier, I just came off working at Disneyland for about 3 years. Was kind of like, I'm going to work for Disney for the rest of my life, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Had aspirations of working at the studios, going graphic design, illustration, something like that. So after Disneyland, I was like, what am I going to do? I was kind of done with that. Ran into a friend that worked at the store at South Coast Plaza. Went to a high school with him. He was like, hey, we're hiring. Why don't you check it out? And I was kind of like, well, that's interesting. I'll do something different, but it's the same sort of thing. And really kind of liked it. Interviewed. I can't remember even who I interviewed at the time. The original managers at the time kind of elude me. But I do remember quite a few people I worked with that were great. But yeah, everything was like, I love the fact it was still Disney. I love the fact that it was something I could work at while I was going to school. I mean, I was doing graphic design at Cal State Long Beach. I could do my school, do my my homework, run to the mall, work a shift, close it out, then get home and make it just sort of a thing that worked out really well.
Disney Store was a second job for me also. So I was going to school for education. I was getting my degree to be a teacher, and yeah, so it was my second job. So I was there a couple nights a week, and then I was there on the weekends. So it was so much fun. But then, because of that schedule, there were a lot of people that we were all on the same team, but I'd never see them.
Yeah.
Because you sort of had your full-time crew,
right,
which were the Monday through Friday day people, right? And so it was interesting because when we started, when you started posting about the store closing, permanently, and sort of let's do a get-together, there were all these faces that popped up, and I'm like, wait, did you work? I'm like, wait,
right.
I only know my experience, right? But I wasn't there at the same time as everybody. You mentioned about, them being buttoned up and being very professional. What do you recall, obviously there's all sorts of things. So, between the costumes and the way that the product need to be laid out. So, what are some memories of that?
I think my first memories were just the vast amount of Little Mermaid dolls that were everywhere. Because, Little Mermaid was still huge. It had been released, I think, the year before.
Yeah, I think that was out in 89-ish.
Yeah, I think 80 or Christmas of 89 or something. So it was huge. So, and there were dolls everywhere. There was just Little Mermaids everywhere. And it was just, I think the variety, Plush Mountain, everything was just, again, as they always say, this Disney store seemed like that was an extension of the park, the magic of the park. And so I just remember, having so much great merchandise and the laser discs that would play, and it was just really...
What are those?
I know. Laser discs.
There used to be this technology called a laser disc.
Oh my God, we had so many of those.
Do you recall why they said we had laser discs in the stores?
No.
I don't remember. They give you a good reason?
They said that they did that because they were indestructible. and they knew at the time where we were, again, this
They
is
wouldn't
so long
skip for
ago.
things or-
Well, versus like VHS,
Yeah,
if we
yeah,
ran it
sure.
all day for
Yeah.
you know
that's true.
weeks and years,
Yeah.
that's what they said. I mean,
Okay.
who knows? But I do recall that. And then every few months or sometimes
get a
even
new
sooner, we'd get a new one with
Yep.
all of the different sing-along songs.
Whatever
Or,
they were trying to promote.
yeah, of course. You know what I remember about the Little Mermaid dolls that you're talking about? So we had these little, what did they call them? They were called FDUs, feature display units or
Oh, that's
something.
good. Yeah.
I think that's
I'm sure
what they were called.
Other things too, but yes.
But basically just a shelf to put things, right? But I remember that you'd have, the doll, the Little Mermaid doll, and you'd stack them maybe 5, 6 deep. And I recall very keenly that sometimes the shelf wasn't straight, and they literally just all, ding, they'd all fall down. Or the moment a kid went down and touched one, ding, 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 they were like the total dominoes.
Yeah, we must have sold 1 million of those things.
Yeah.
Those things went like crazy. I can't even believe it.
And there were so many different ones. It was Ariel in a pink dress, or Ariel in her fin, or Ariel in her wedding dress, or Ariel everything. And it was like, can't you sell a doll and then her costumes? That was
I think they eventually got there, but yes. Right, of course. We talk about Little Mermaid, and I think that the thing that was really great for me too is loving Disney, but being there and seeing that they were not only celebrating the past of Disney, but we were putting out, as if we were the animators, but they were putting out some of the best movies ever while we were there.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's true, and maybe that's what got me back into liking Disney, because I think as a kid we had all those great those movies and memories, but then there was that weird 1980s period,
Yes.
with
Yes.
I'm Sorry, The Black Cauldron, and the Rescuers,
Sword in the Stone,
Rescuers
Rescuers,
Down Under, the
the dark period.
yeah,
the
and-
pre-Eisner period.
Yeah, so I think once Little Mermaid hit the movie theaters, and then you just age out, right? It's, when you're in your 20s, no one wants to go see Disney movies at the time.
Right.
And so I think once The Mermaid came out, it was just this re-celebration of everything so great about the animation department, and just the excellence and amazing part of the movie. And I think it really kind of re-energized a lot of people to say, let's re-explore Disney as an adult. That's
Yeah,
at least
it
in my
was-
case.
It was like a rebirth. I mean, how did you feel about it?
Well, gosh, the first memory that kind of popped in my mind, and it was that. Yeah, they made everything special again, which was nice. I remember driving up to Hollywood to the El Capitan and to see the premiere of it. And so
Oh,
they
wow.
made an event. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a movie, and then it was like, to wrap it back in the stores. It was always cool. We were in, kind of knee deep in helping to promote that.
Mhm.
Always.
we had all of our buttons telling people to go see it, or or I remember when it was nominated for best song. That was a big push, and we all had a button that we were trying to root for be our guest to be the best song and win an
Yes.
Oscar, and it won, and everybody was all excited. So it went from, like Jackie said, this period of what is this? What is and where is it going? And then all of a sudden there was structure, and I feel again that the stores, if there's a little part we played, I think it was kind of cool because we were there with people who weren't in the park. We were the people that would touch, kind of like the real people who would come to the store to get that sort of fix, that Disney fix. And then so we were the ones that would be that person to talk to about what was kind of cool and hip and going on with the company at the time,
Yes.
or what movies were coming out. So for me, being young and impressionable and kind of like thinking my whole life was going to be focused on Disney, I was kind of in my element. It was really cool to see people on a day-to-day basis kind of share that kind of interest with you.
Yeah.
And whether it was coworkers, people who came off the street, or the regulars that we like to talk about
Of
that
course. The regulars.
came in, which we could talk about it at length at some point. But it was really cool. I think there was something special about the stores, and I think those were the heydays when they were growing and expanding. And to me, that was just the most exciting thing.
When you talk about that, about the regulars and the store being special, I think that we didn't even understand at the moment. We understood the proximity on a map. We were the only store in the beginning that was by the park.
Right.
Right.
So if you look at the millions of people in Orange County, California, that grew up with Disneyland or regulars or locals to the park,
Right.
we were the first, extension
Mhm.
there had ever been, because back then there wasn't a second amusement park.
Right.
There was only one hotel,
Even a second page.
right? And so having a store with people that enjoyed Disney and selling merchandise, but also having conversations and being in the mix, it was even more special than I could gather at the time.
Right.
I mean, looking back, I just really now can see just how unique that was.
Right.
I mean, eventually there was another store put in Santa Ana that technically got the crown of being the closest.
Right.
But at that moment, like South Coast Plaza, like
Was
that was a big deal.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was fun. It was really cool. And that was the thing too, is that we would always we were that group of kids that were all kind of into Disneyland. So again, that
Right.
was our thing: work all day or in the night, and then close up, go to Disneyland, and kind of complete that whole.
Those
Let's
are fun.
okay, so let's talk about that. So one rub that was weird about it was that so we were Disney employees, but yet we weren't Disneyland employees. So even though we were right there, we weren't allowed in the park on Disneyland's dime. Like not, if we showed our ID, it didn't mean squat. So we did have to pay
Did
to
we?
go. Yeah.
And annual passports when
remember.
what would they cost? Like $80 or
Oh
something.
God, yeah. I mean, when I was 16, they were like $100, and then and there was like an extra $10 for parking for the whole year. I mean, it was insane.
So so when we were going, then did they still have the, if you came in after 4, you got the discount?
I don't
Or had that already
recall.
left?
I know I had an annual pass,
I don't
and
know.
maybe there were sign-ins because I think the managers might have been able to
Yes.
sign,
Okay.
you
Maybe that's
know.
why
But I don't think we invited them all the time.
I have a picture. I always have a picture of some manager.
Yeah. there
Well,
was some, yeah.
Not all the time.
Not all the time, no.
Right.
Not all.
Okay, but talk about that. So the same way, like, okay, so we're working hard, and then when we finish, we're also the only store that can literally go to Disneyland after we get off work.
Yeah, I think that was the best part, and then a little bit of stuff
Sunday
we talked.
nights.
Yeah, the stuff we talked about, like when we got together last time, was the fact that you could on certain nights, everybody would work really hard to get done quickly,
Mhm.
but but nice and done and efficiently. It was done right. It
We
wasn't
did it
rushed.
right.
It wasn't rushed. Everything was done right. But then we'd all get our group together. We'd go, and the coolest thing was like on a Saturday night or a Sunday night, we'd show up after say like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and when the park would be open till like 1 a.m., you could do everything.
It
That was
was-
the coolest part. It felt like we had it to ourselves.
It was so cool.
I remember there'd be times when we'd be on Splash Mountain at 10 o'clock at night, and they were so empty, they would just be like, "Want to go again?"
Yep.
And you'd be like, "Yeah."
Right. The thing I love about Disneyland too, when you're there late, or again back when there was an off season, which
Right.
almost
Right.
doesn't exist these days,
Right.
but Disneyland being in Orange County, and because of the amount of water between the Jungle Cruise and the Rivers of America, where the Mark Twain goes around, you would get fog in
Mhm.
certain seasons, and it would almost look like you wouldn't need special effects for the Haunted Mansion to look extra creepy.
Oh yeah.
But it would happen because you'd be there that late at night,
Oh yeah.
and the mist and the fog and the dew would kick up, and it'd be
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this is like so trippy. It's like you felt like we were like behind the scenes or
Yeah.
like there after hours.
Yeah, it was super special, and especially for the fact that as a kid, it just didn't cost that much extra to do it. And then again, we were living this life on the side of working for him. So like you said, it was kind of weird that we didn't have that freebie into the park.
Right.
But I don't feel like I ever missed that or was slighted by that. I almost felt like it was just who we are, and this is what we had to do. Sort of.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't feel slighted by it. The reason why I brought that up was created a very weird loophole, because so we were technically employees and we had to pay or get ourselves in however we did. But yet, when the park turned 35, they had the game going at the entrance.
Oh yeah.
And every time you went in, you'd get a little ticket, and you'd have the opportunity to win prizes. And yeah,
Oh, that's
and
is that 90?
that was 90, and then they did it again in 95 for the
Oh, wow.
for the 35th.
Okay.
So there was no entrance that said you're paying to get in, but you can't win a prize.
That's right.
So
yeah.
technically, as employees, we'd be walking in getting like things, and I'd have to pass it to other people
Because
because
you
I'd be
can't-
like,
Yeah,
I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
You know, so it was just a rub. It was
Yeah,
just weird,
yeah, I agree.
you know?
Yeah, I think
But it wasn't a big deal.
Oh no,
You know?
yeah.
I ended up getting a couple spins on that Dream Machine thing, and I had somebody else do it because I was like, "Who's watching?" God forbid I won the car and had to sign.
Oh my
something.
God, yeah.
It would have been crazy, right?
They're all, where do you work again?
Right.
Yeah, that would have been weird. When we talk about going to the park, also like after work, which again, I think we buried the lead there too, but like we got along so well as a team. Not every single person, but it was such a social
It
group
was a social group.
that we loved doing extra things like that. And I recall, I think it was '92 when Fantasmic premiered at Disneyland. We went and watched that show many times.
Oh my
It's still
God.
like I still think that's my very favorite big show that they've ever made there. And like we would go and see it again and again and again, and oh my God, it was so fun.
Yeah, super fanatics of that. As a matter of fact, I don't have it with me because it's too big to bring, but I've got that foyer print that they had in the Disneyana store when there was a proper Disneyana store on Main Street.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it's the just giant print and signed and numbered. And I remember like it was such a huge purchase. It was like a couple $100 or something. But we were like, we gotta have that. And then it hung in our house forever for like when we first started. And now it's like it's just funny that like, oh, I must have really been into Fantasmic back then. But it's just funny that we go all the time to see that.
Yeah, we got caught up in it, right?
I remember I would sit. I don't know if we were always together with that, but there was this one spot where one of the light poles was down on the ground until like 10 minutes before the show.
Yes, right.
So if you sat right, no one would sit there because they thought their view would be obstructed. But so we would sit and camp there, and then as soon as that light pole went up, you had a clear view.
Prime seating.
Prime seating.
Yeah.
And I mean that was so fun. We'd do that for the electrical light parade too.
Yes.
We would sit right next to Alice.
Yes.
Where they didn't put the chain up. Remember, like they wouldn't put the chain up between the teacups and Alice.
Yes, you're
until
right.
like 15 minutes before the parade started. So we would literally sit in that one spot, and then when they put the chain up, everybody would like try to jockey in for a front row seat.
Jackie's got all the tricks.
All the tricks. I don't even know. I'm sure they don't work anymore.
We could all write a book of all the tricks.
Oh,
right? Oh my God! Between all of us, we've all tips and tricks.
My favorite thing about we're totally going off the Disney store, but you can edit that. But anyway,
when she says edit it out, we're keeping it in.
So we were sitting there one time waiting for the electrical light parade, and you could hear the "From necesitamos, por favor," across from the Matterhorn.
From Matterhorn, right?
And these kids were sitting next to us, and they kept saying cinnamon toast and tacos on the floor.
Yeah.
And we're like,
"Yep,
what are you talking about?" And finally the mom's like, that's what it sounds like to them. They think "From necesitamos, por favor" is cinnamon toast and tacos on the floor.
That's my favorite interpretation.
So
always.
we always say that now.
I know,
Always say that.
Stuck in my head. Great.
So every time we walk by the Matterhorn, still to this day, we're like, cinnamon toast and tacos on the floor. So,
Classic.
So Jackie and I also had a chance to meet up with some other of our co-workers from South Coast Plaza. This is Elliot Brown and Jen Dorman. And Jen stayed with the Disney stores for much longer than Jackie and I did. And she was actually the closing store manager for the Brea store, seeing it all the way to the end in September of 2021, and we got some of her thoughts as well. And please excuse the noise. We were in this outdoor corridor and there were lots of loud kids, but bear with me.
Jen, what did it feel like for you, working for the stores?
It was definitely a sense of pride. I remember I was like 18 years old and I was shopping around at South Coast after Little Mermaid came out in the movie theater. And I went in, I bought a flip-top flounder digital watch, and there was a future interest form that you could fill out, and I really wanted to work there. I don't know, I just had that feeling, and it took forever for them to call, and they finally did for a seasonal position. So I was just really excited, and I remember wearing that sweater on my first day because they had given it to me, and you're not supposed to wear it outside, but I came walking in with my sweater on.
We were there. What do we remember about the costumes? And I know we have a prop as well.
Well, I mean, the costumes were polyester and pantyhose.
They were quite
Actually, I think if you were a cast member at the time, we all thought they were dreadful. But I think as time went on, they've become a fond memory. But this is.
All right, let's see it.
All right, this is the original cast member sweater. Yeah.
Oh, God, I remember that.
And then you put your service pins right here.
Service pins.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is huge. I mean,
It was always that kind of slouchy.
Very
I
slouchy.
feel like I had like a size little extra large when I was kids.
it's so big. I mean, this is a medium. Yeah. So this was the sweater
And a little gray pleated skirt.
and a gray pleated skirt
And a pink button down.
that went past your knees.
Yes.
Polyester pink button down.
Yes.
It's all polyester. It was easy to maintain and wash at home.
Yes. Pantyhose.
Pantyhose was
White
soft.
socks. Tennis shoes.
White tennis shoes.
Yeah.
You had to wear white tennis shoes.
Is it weird talking about it now? Like, okay, we talk about it now and we say polyester with a smirk, right? But at the time, it was just normal, right? Like, I mean, was it weird at the time?
It was
To be-
polyester
Yeah.
at the time.
Okay.
It was still,
I guess it was less important to the men as it was the women then.
I think so.
Because you ladies are really holding on to it. Like that was like,
You couldn't wear the sweaters out of the store.
Yeah.
Remember?
No, you couldn't wear the sweaters.
You couldn't wear the sweaters out of the store.
out of the store. They stayed in the store.
Right.
right.
Unless we had to clean them.
Unless you have to go home and wash
Yeah.
them. So some people were better at that than others.
But I remember that because it was a little pleated skirt and a button-down shirt, we always got. Everybody thought we went to like some sort of Catholic school.
It did look school uniform-ish, right? Which of course makes sense for the costume,
Right.
right? Because we were supposed to be cheerleaders,
Supposed to be
right?
collegiate. We have a pocket.
Right.
That's about it. That's all.
Yeah, we have our name tag was over our heart,
Right.
and then a button of some sort, like if we had a pre-sale
Promotion.
or
Yes.
something like that.
Ask me about
Yeah.
Peter Pan on VHS.
We let them-
All right, so for me, one of the things that I loved about working at Disney Store, especially South Coast Plaza, we've talked about being one of the original stores at the beginning. So all of the design was very specialized. And so we had this animation window in the front of the store, and it kind of looked like Geppetto's workshop.
It was,
And
yes.
Mickey was in there, right? But one of the really exceptional things of all the little attention to detail was they had the doorknob from Alice in Wonderland actually on the door. I mean, it wasn't a functioning door, but it was in this display. And to this day, I have one of those doorknobs like what was in the window.
It
Now,
was in the window.
Oh, was it? But this is from one of the store windows. We're not going to talk about where it came from because it's been 30 years now. But in any case, I mean, look at the detail on that. I mean, it's like, they really, and this was just a throwaway piece in a window
Right. They
compared
were gonna
to,
throw that away.
yeah, I mean, and then they went to change the window and they were just going to gut it. And so luckily through great friendships and great connections and great kindness, this ended up in my possession, and 30 years later, it is still one of my very favorite pieces ever. I've gotten rid of almost all of my Alice collection, but I never got rid of this because it's so special. Give it back?
Give it back.
Oh, someone's telling on themselves. I always love you, but I especially love you because of this, because it was just so thoughtful. Like I'm still the biggest Alice fan. Like, anyway, but like this kind of thing, like, yeah, like again, the stores are different now, and it's not a better or worse thing, but there was so much more attention to detail, which is why I wanted to talk about this little piece.
Well, I think they did do attention to detail because there was so few.
Yes.
And I think once they started duplicating stores, the maintenance of that animation became, just cost effective.
Right.
It's very cost prohibitive.
Yeah, designers could literally do a store at a time.
Right.
Then they
Once
started opening 30 at a time.
Right. So
Yeah.
once the maintenance couldn't go out and really keep that, keep the animation to the level that it should be.
Right.
So the maintenance suffered, and so I think they tried to simplify the look of the stores to help keep the maintenance going, cost effective.
Yeah. I get it.
No, I do too.
but we had our special time.
We did.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We had that window, and
We'll always have the doorknob.
we always had the doorknob. What's his name?
The doorknob.
Oh,
That's his name. Yeah.
always had the doorknob.
I think one of the things for me that was really special about working for the Disney Store also was how unique it was in the beginning, and where the individual stores, you know, like had different designs.
Right.
Like, do you remember that?
I do.
So South Coast Plaza, when we started, was
Well, yeah. So like, I may have been there a little bit before when you came on, and
Yeah.
the way it was kind of set up for us was very unique. Again, it had sort of a drive-in movie theme. So again, that was to me to walk in and see this giant screen with sort of like they had a little marquee and they had a little ticket booth and things like that. That were all
Yes.
part of the theming. That was super cool. And then Plush Mountain was at the base of the screen, you know. So and then they had a sort of like a black sky with stars in it. So
Did
I think.
Plush Mountain have little like black silhouette cars?
Yes,
It had
yeah,
the
actually
tail
did.
light.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
It was
yes.
all like cars parked at the drive-in.
Drive at
That's
the
right.
drive-in.
So we would climb up there and do Plush Mountain and try not to break the cars.
Yes.
Don't break that because it was all done out of. I think it was
Plywood.
probably done by all by hand, painted to like with the tail fins and
Yeah.
stuff. So you really
it wasn't meant for long wear and tear.
No, so you had to be very careful. And for a little while, again, that was what was really special about that store. And again, they were kind of filming a surfing movie and stuff and beach movies. So there was like, I think Goofy was on a surfboard. And then we had obviously over the cash wrap area, then we had the car, the kind of like the 50s car.
Yes.
With all the people, with all the characters in it and a lot of neon. Everything was handcrafted in touch. Even right down to, remember, they had a display case, which was that the old jukebox.
The jukebox
Yeah.
was
Oh my
the jewelry
gosh, it was
case.
so cool, and you
Yeah.
could lift it up and you could put the stuff in there. That was special. I mean, it felt like every store had something going on, and then
Yeah.
not to mention, of course, the giant front windows with all the animations that they'd have in that too, which was really cool. So yeah, those early pink and green stores, those things were special. They were, you know, I know that the South Coast Plaza store went from that sort of drive-in look to then a more standardized look, but still, even that standardized look in the pink and green store was still very elaborate, very down to every detail, very colorful. Loved every minute of those stores.
Yeah. What?
Betty carpet.
Yes. Yeah.
It was fun. Do you recall going to any other stores outside of the South Coast or what they had done?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Del Amo was space theme.
Was it?
Yes, because it was Del Amo is close to where Northrop and
Of course, the
aerospace.
aeronautics industry.
Yeah, the
Right,
aeronautics
right.
industry. So it was themed appropriately for its region. I remember going to Glendale, of course, and seeing just that store in all of its large glory.
Yeah, that was the first store, right?
That was the
ever?
first store ever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to remember because I have all these pictures, but like I didn't write any notes.
Right.
And now I look at these albums 30 years later, and,
Right.
I'm like, wait. What?
Right.
So I probably have pictures of Del Amo,
I
but I
think
didn't.
you do. I think
Yeah,
you have
I
to-
didn't. But now you're helping me put the puzzle together.
Yeah, so I think they were themed according to the. I never went to the first San Francisco store, but I
Yeah,
know
I mean,
everything was themed according to where they were at. You know, Paramus in New Jersey. I think it was very much themed locally, so they were all unique, kind of like what Fry's used to do. You know?
Yeah, sure.
So-
Yeah, it was really cool. Like we made several trips to go see the different stores, and went up to Pier 39 to see that store. And the first thing off the bat, that one amazed me. It was very small.
Tiny.
So coming off the South Coast Plaza store, which felt really big and open and big vaulted ceilings with things hanging from it, to walk into that store, it was still very unique. I think I remember the entrance may have had some sort of like stained glass window.
Yes, yes, I have a picture of
Yeah,
that.
and I don't even remember seeing the picture, but I remember going there and I was like, wow, that's cool. So like again, these little touches, and then like we had mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, we're like, oh, Mickey's Kitchen opened up. We got to go to Mickey's Kitchen. Got to go see what they did, and they basically took that Montclair store and they busted out, I guess, a whole extension to another store that used to be there, and you'd walk in there, it was
Right.
massive.
Yeah,
And then
they made a restaurant, a Disney store restaurant, which was called Mickey's Kitchen.
Super crazy. So again, up to that point, anybody who wanted anything sort of Disney-themed food would have to go to the park. You know,
Right.
whether it was Tomorrowland Terrace or whatever it was at the time. So you could go get. I remember they had the Mickey corn chips that were shaped like Mickey with the ears. I think
Okay.
even the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches might have been shaped like Mickey.
That was at Mickey's Kitchen?
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
And I remember they even had like even more intensive type foods, but I don't remember even. I think we went there a couple times. I mean,
A weird banana thing. I don't know what it was. It was like a banana on a hot dog bun with peanut butter.
Really?
I seem to recall that being on the menu.
Yeah.
I've blocked it out because I've been there. I had gone a couple times but I feel I feel like Mickey's Kitchen was sort of like Rocket Rods, where like I had no idea it was going to be gone so fast.
Right, yeah.
So
Right.
I would have like paid more attention.
Yeah.
And then it didn't last long.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was one in Thousand Oaks too.
There was
Another
couple
Mickey's
of them.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
They did several.
They opened,
Yeah,
because I
there was a
believe the
couple.
Promenade opened with the Mickey's Kitchen there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was massive though. I couldn't even believe it. It was just weird to think of that there was Disney store employees who were like bussing tables and stuff. It was just like, it kind of blew my mind. Like you could go get a job and it'd be working for Disney in a food sort of place. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you were a cast member at the store, you could also, you
I-
had to work at the. you
I don't know
could
how
be
that
zoned
worked.
for
I
the
just
kitchen?
remember there was people bussing tables and I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like
That
you
is
could work,
interesting.
because I
Right.
came from custodial at the park, and so you either swept, around, did street sweeping, or you went into basically bussing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to ever do that. So to see like, oh wow, that's weird. You could work for the Disney stores and be like a busser, but maybe someone can elaborate. Maybe mention or.
Again, when we do these videos like this is our experience. It's
Right.
not at all
Right, that's
the
true.
end all be all. So if you worked at Montclair or can fill
let
in the
us
place,
know.
please put it in the comments. Tell us the rest of the story.
Yeah, I want to know more.
yeah, because I didn't know.
Let's talk about this
so short.
crazy peanut butter banana thing. I seem to recall that. So somebody's got to have an inside story on the peanut butter
Someone
banana thing.
has to.
But
I never tried
That
it.
sounds
It
like an
just sounded-
Elvis special or something.
just-
And they say Elvis like peanut butter and banana
Yeah.
sandwiches.
Yeah,
Like peanut butter and
it was
banana
not. It
sandwich.
wasn't something that looked appealing. But anyway,
I think that one of the cool things about when we were there too, again, in the beginning, there was so much uniqueness and the stores, were unique. And then things started to grow, right? So then there was like a major expansion also for part of when we were there. And so the cool thing about that is like we were treated at times as like the veterans.
Yes.
And so they asked us to go help
Other
grand
stores.
open other stores. Did you?
Right.
You guys did that too, right?
yeah, I remember we opened West Side Pavilion.
Yes. I was at that one.
We helped open Main Place.
Yes.
In Santa Ana. There was also, I remember going to Lakewood for a little bit of time, and also helping. I worked a few weeks over at Century City
Okay.
when they had their old store, like the original store. that was-
Right.
So it was just wherever there was a lot of if there was a need for certain things, or when our store shut down for the remodel, they kind of parsed a lot of people out to different stores to help out. So it was kind of
I definitely remember the West Side Pavilion opening. It was really, so they had all of these like inflatable tubes that like the mall basically let them take over the whole place.
cool.
They had Beauty and the Beast there
Oh, wow.
as a meet and greet that you could take pictures with.
I wasn't there for the
Um,
grand opening. But, yeah.
Okay, and then Mickey was there also, and let's see. I think on this day, if I remember correctly, I think Joe Rosalenko was there with me on that opening, and also I think Peggy was at this one too. We got to triple check on the photos, but I thought that was one of the coolest things where we weren't making much money, but there was a respect
Right.
where. Like the people who, were senior or were good at their job, that they were like, okay, can you come,
Right.
help us expand and show, some of the new folks the way around.
Well, there was a certain camaraderie too. I mean, I remember the Christmas parties. We would do Christmas parties with other stores.
Yes.
We would all get together at some, venue and celebrate Christmas together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, there definitely wasn't. There was more of like that trying to get a family feel, I think, with the variety of stores in their areas.
Absolutely.
So I think that was nice.
Yeah. Did you have any other grand opening notes or?
No, just that's when we went to open Main Place. We were just at a certain point at that store. We'd done South Coast Plaza for a while, and then
Yes.
there was that opportunity to go over and do Main Place and open it. And that was like, I think it was that was the last my last year of the 3-year stint that I did. And I didn't have those other opportunities. I don't think I went to any other grand openings that I recall, but I do remember going, yeah, this is the time to do that. I want to see what that's like, taking something from an empty store and opening it up and just kind of living that buzz.
Right.
Because we hadn't. I'd done the 2 years at the other store. Yeah, let's try something new. And it was
Yeah.
really cool. And luckily, again, that was another one of the pink and green stores. And I just liked that idea. And it also kind of was a precursor to the gallery store that was
Yes.
next to it and stuff.
Correct.
And I
Correct.
wasn't there for that, but I really liked that I got to see it be all fresh and new, because I felt like that was the one thing I missed at South Coast Plaza. I came on a little bit after it opened. There was that original opening crew that was there. They were super tightly knit, and they welcomed me into that group. And then they started to transition out, and that's when you guys all started to come in. So that became the new family. And then we're like, okay, let's see what happens if we expand a little more and,
Yes,
see, push
yeah.
it out. And that's where we met even more people.
Right.
The cool thing is, though, is we still, like you said, Jackie, we still kept in touch. We still kept doing that. And
this was before Instagram and Facebook. We
Yes.
had to do
before
it the old-fashioned
cell
way.
phone, no cell phones, no photos. I mean, yeah.
Telephone or-
We had to actually stay in touch with people.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, and then to be talking about it again after all these years is amazing, because you know, you start to remember sort of how you felt at the time
You're right.
and how it was, and it was exciting to open up a new store and ride the buzz of that, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So right. So Main Place Santa Ana. That was you and I both grand opened it, but then stayed. Right. So we weren't right. So we both transferred and stayed there. And that was a great experience. For many of the reasons you just said. And then yeah, that store also then became the next closest to the park.
Right. I didn't even think about that at the time, but yeah.
But that's what would happen is we and just from a like logistical purpose too, you'd get tons of people wanting to return things from the park, and so that was a whole thing. So it was a different experience than perhaps people who were working at stores in the Midwest or something, but very, very unique. Another grand opening I really remember was Vegas. So one of our managers, Stephen Warner,
Right.
he got promoted, got his own store in Las Vegas, so he moved out there, and I know Elliot and I went to help grand open that.
Didn't you have to unpack like at 6 a.m. or something because of the heat?
It was insane,
insane.
and again, just a reminder as we're talking about like that, it was a family. Like we were literally staying with Stephen, like we were like staying at his apartment. And then like working and
Right.
like
crazy.
just figuring it out, but super fun. And I know like as years have gone on and we've all gone into like other careers, like I feel like this was like lightning in a bottle, and I didn't know it at the time.
No.
You knew it was fun and you knew it was special, but I just, as the years have gone on, I've realized how much more special it was.
I think it was just it was just such a formative time. We were all young and single, not encumbered with, full careers yet. And there's a lot of potential. Everybody was working towards something, and their personalities fit with this store and really meshed. And I think it really helped. Like for me, it helped form just a lot of things that I've taken, through my professional career.
Yeah.
The interactions and things.
Yeah, I mean the one thing again, and this is kind of like obvious, but like to when you're trying to find people that you like, those common interests are the huge thing, really.
Yeah.
Something you can kind of enjoy together, and right off the bat, we all had a common interest. Everybody there, I don't think anybody who works at a Disney store, obviously, those people love Disney. That's what they're there for. So you've got this common bond right away. And I even think in reading the stories of the people who are unfortunately like having to leave their jobs now, they feel the same way, like you said,
Yeah.
lightning in a bottle. They're in their formative years. They're making their ohana their family. They're feeling that bond, and they're missing it. They're missing it because they just came to that store for, again, found somebody who likes what they like, who loves what they love, can talk to them about it all day long. That's what we had, and I think I'll take it another level. I think again we can take a little bit that we were a little more special because we were a little earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I think we were riding that wave. Like you mentioned, we were at these years when they were expanding. We were there at the time. There was 300 stores. 300 stores was like blew our mind.
Yes.
Like really, there's
Wasn't
300
there a
stores.
button when we hit 100?
Giant.
Yes,
that
a
giant
giant
100
button,
a
yeah.
giant
I
100
still
button.
have
Yeah.
my button.
Maybe it was
Yeah.
100 stores. That's what I was thinking. 300. Yeah,
When they
the
hit
100
100.
stores.
Yep.
But
It was mind-numbing
Yeah.
because at one point there were 3.
right.
Like our store was the 3rd store,
Yep.
like
Right.
ever. Not that we were there like it just when
No,
it was
but-
only 3, but like
But I think
you
I
could
think-
count them on one hand, and then
Right.
poof, it got
I
so
think by
big.
the time I even came on, there was still just a couple of dozen. I don't think it was incredibly
No.
large. They were still in the 300s
Yeah.
when I came on.
That's
So-
crazy. It's just again, it was just good people, good times.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
didn't really feel like work, especially when you consider the magnitude of what you were doing on certain, like folding 1 billion t-shirts or
Right.
or fixing that plush mountain every time some kid destroyed it.
Right.
I loved it. I don't know why I loved it, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you won an award.
the Pluto
For it.
Plush King Award.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I don't
yes.
know who gave it to you, but I think what award did you win? Yours.
I won the Disney Fold Award.
Okay, so there we go. So
Exciting.
And they were, and then there was some cash register award or something I went to, but even with that, it was like
It was still fun.
it was fun. And,
yeah, I wasn't doing it for the awards.
and they didn't have right. Thank your agent, right? But even with that, right? Like those were silly little things, but we still kept that piece of paper
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
from 30 years ago. They had no budget to be doing extra things or whatever, you know, but they found like cute little ways to
Well.
like keep us going.
Well,
You know.
wasn't when the stores first opened, they actually used Disneyland merchandise? I don't think they had their own buyers when they initially opened.
Oh,
That's what
That could
I
be-
was
Sounds
told,
right.
is that there
I
was a
bet you
lot
that's
of
true.
things that they purchased through Disneyland to stock the stores.
I mean, it would make sense, you
Until
know,
they
because a
got
lot of
the
it.
buyers together.
I mean, I do recall in the very early time when I was there, like, well, yeah, the plush was the same as the parks.
Right.
I don't know if they were tagged the same, but then even the figurines, like we were selling full ceramic figurines of all the stories, of all, right, of every
Right.
movie. And God forbid a toddler went
Oh.
towards that
No,
area.
Right. And the
Um,
PCs and the cookie cutters. And the,
Yeah, so there was a lot of similarities, and then
Posters.
at some point, you know, the clothing got different, you know,
Right.
but it definitely started with uniqueness. And when you talked about like common interests and developing the friendships and stuff, there was also a lot of dating and stuff that happened, you know, like inner store
Yeah.
dating, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
And then what about
We all
your
experienced
wife?
that.
Like you met before or what? Like
No, we met at the store.
you met at the stores,
At the
yeah.
stores,
So
yeah.
right.
So I'll just keep it brief on that. Yeah, you know, I'd worked there.
She
for a
wants you
while.
to tell it all. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so I'll tell you the brief story. This is really great. And she knows this story. She's heard this a million times because she was obviously part of it. So I was there, you know, young, had lots of hair, it was great. Kind of was, like you said, a little more, been there a while, knew everybody. She hired in and I guess was interested. So, you know, I was like, that's kind of cool, you know. But the thing that happened was, like you said, there was a lot of common interest in people again, who liked who and all this stuff. Well, Secret Santas were coming up. That was another thing we did in the stores. That was again, so we had Secret Santas. And without me knowing it, there was an arrangement made so that I would become someone's like
Secret Santa.
recipient to the Secret Santa.
Amazing.
So there was this thing. So there was this exchange of gifts. Who's it going to be? And it turned out, it was Michelle.
Uh-huh.
And soon after, I couldn't have been more than like right after that, we started dating. We again go to the park with you guys, do all the fun stuff. with
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
That went on and on. I mean, gosh, that was like 90, 89, something like that. We got married in 93.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, and like, it's, you know, the Disney love has been there, obviously. We've had annual passes, we do all that stuff. But yeah, we're not the only case of that. There are many people who have met their
Many,
spouses
many.
at the stores. I would like to think that maybe we were one of the first ones to do that because it's kind of cool. But yeah, it was kind of cool and we kind of rolled with it. But we were great friends before and then just rolled right into this relationship. And it just seemed natural. Again,
Yeah.
shared interests, common bonds. It was just awesome. It was a great time.
It's so exciting, and it's like you guys did it, you know, in, you know, the more organic way, you know, as opposed to now where, you know, you would have had to pull up Cinderella's coach in front of the castle to get someone's attention or something.
Right.
I don't know. Things have progressed a lot, you
But
know.
it was just neat that, you know, at the time you could work with someone that you liked and then you could have those moments after work. She then, you know, when we started to get a little more serious, she moved on to other stores, went into management. And so I found myself, again, while I was still working at the store, we would take turns driving to, you know, she was down in San Diego. I would
Yeah.
take time going down there. She would actually come up to me on my breaks at Santa Ana. She would drive up just for a break. Like I would be off for a half hour from my typical lunch.
Yeah.
And she'd be sitting there on the bench waiting for me just so that she could be there for a half hour to get back her car and drive back to San Diego.
Oh.
Now that's dedication for you.
That's amazing.
That is love.
Oh, I love that you guys have this great love story. It's amazing.
Yeah, and
Congratulations, still together all these years. That's amazing. Wow. Right? We have what is the 30-year anniversary? Is it like platinum or what? What is?
I don't know.
I don't
it's
know
coming
either.
soon. I better figure that out. I don't know. I got a year or two though, so.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about all of these memories, and there's so many things we've touched on, but you know, we've kept some memories as well. So why don't we step away for just a quick sec and look through? You guys brought some stuff,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I did.
So let's look through some of the memories and the things that we have still kept after all these years. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, great. So whose jacket is that?
This is mine. So this was the jacket. So they used to do the whole video, the video challenge. So each store was challenged with selling a certain amount of videos based upon their sales.
Look at that embroidery.
I know.
God, that's beautiful.
And when you reached your final goal, and it was cumulative, so you kept shooting for a goal.
Yeah.
And once you met your final goal, everybody in the store would get a jacket for the video challenge.
I don't recall if I was there when that happened. I'm not sure.
I know. I got mine at South Coast before I left to work at Glendale.
I mean, it looks familiar, but I don't recall if I had one
Okay.
myself. But-
The South Coast Plaza store won the video challenge jackets after 101 Dalmatians.
Okay.
So that was our milestone.
Super cool. And what's that sweater?
Well, okay. Well, let's go with the first sweater. So this is this isn't the original costume because I think there was a few iterations before the collegiate sweater. So this
Right.
was the cast member sweater
Right.
up until probably about 93, 94, maybe a little later.
They went to a vest too. I think it went towards.
There was a vest in between.
Yep.
And
And
yeah,
the-
I remember the vest.
And the M would be where you would put your pins,
Yes.
right? Your like service award pins.
Right. So if you
Right.
won a guest experience award,
Look at
you
that.
would put your little pin on there.
Right, right.
And your name tag, and then any promotion. Your name tag was always over your heart.
Yes.
Right? And then your promotional buttons would be on the right-hand side.
And I think I see some promotional buttons over
Oh,
here,
my goodness.
Eric.
Yeah. I can
So
walk you
what's
through-
what's an example of like what would be on the sweater?
Oh well, this was a fun one.
Right.
So you can imagine this was banging into everything, but I think at one point we literally had to wear this like right there,
Right.
You know, or on one side.
And so that's when the expansion had hit to 100 stores.
Yeah,
Yes.
100 stores, and then
Look at
I
that.
got this crazy dilapidated old Mickey.
Oh my
Box,
God!
but-
Look at this.
You can
Look
see.
at this.
When they opened Disney Paris.
Yep.
Yes.
And then Fantasmic.
And then look at we got-
Euro Disney.
got
Yeah,
Tony,
yeah.
Tony Danza on the 35th anniversary celebration.
Woo!
But yeah,
Fantastic.
everything they would do, they would make a special button for. So that was also very cool that they took the time to do
Oh, I
that.
remember
That would have
that.
been my first Christmas.
Yep.
Wow.
You know, then
Darkwing Duck.
at the time they would do special promos where they would,
Mm-hmm.
they would have things for Park, they would have things for Channel 9, the
Oh,
Kid Cal
Robin
Kids
Hood.
Food, Kids Club.
Video releases.
Yeah, Disney Afternoon was when they had sort of the rebirth of all the kind of animation series.
Absolutely. Jackie's favorite, Rescuers Down Under.
Oh, Prime movie.
And then, of course, these were ones that they would make occasionally just, to hand out as promo buttons and things. So we would wear those and have those on our sweater at any given time.
Right.
But boy, I mean, you could see it just goes on. And somewhere in here, again, I think we mentioned, there it is. So when
After we won.
they made this button, and if it wasn't going to win, or if it didn't win the Academy Awards, the buttons were going back to Disney. And then we weren't going to get them, and it was going to be
And-
like some crazy collector
Really?
thing. Yeah, so luckily it won, and they passed them out.
What do you recall what it actually won for? Was it it was
Best
the
song.
Oscar
Song.
Best original song. Yeah,
for
Be Our
the
Guest.
Be Our
Oscars.
Guest.
Wow.
But it was up for picture.
Picture
Yeah,
Shoot,
yeah.
it was the
That
first-
was a
It's a big deal.
stretch. But that was before animation got its own category.
right.
So
exactly.
Beauty and the Beast was up against all of the mainstream
against-
movies.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
so many things. So look, even a bigger one. I've got all kinds of Disney Store buttons.
Look at that.
Darkwing Duck.
Oh my goodness.
Could lay them all out, but yeah, I mean, it just looks like a mess. But it's basically every video release when Peter
Every
Pan,
video release.
like, oh my gosh, Peter Pan's coming back out on video. Make a button for it. They would
Right.
take the time to do it, and you can tell that obviously they did their very huge share of promotions.
The really cool thing about this one too is that this was the original name of Disney Paris. So it was Euro Disney,
Yeah.
and then they also went to Euro Disneyland for a
Okay.
brief moment, and then Disneyland Paris.
Okay.
It's sort of weird. Like after the '90s, like the Disney theme parks had like these identity crisis. Like even here in California, they've renamed that park,
you know, right? It's been renamed. The and MGM Studios is no longer MGM,
Oh,
so that's been renamed. You know.
Okay, the kids club.
Oh.
How about this one? Remember we were talking about this?
I do remember.
We were
all of
selling $89.95 VHS copies of Dick Tracy, and I loved the movie, but oh my god, that was a
merchandise
lot
was
of
a-
freaking money.
The merchandise was a bust.
Oh my gosh! But that's the thing. We had the funny storytelling about the action figures. They had the
Yes.
action figures, and then like again, they had on the back of the things you could collect all the villains.
Yes,
And then they had the blank, and the blank,
everyone wanted the blank.
and the blank, as you know, in the movie ends up being Madonna's character.
Right.
She's
Spoiler
her alter
alert.
ego. Oh shoot! If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry. Check it out on an $89.95 VHS.
I hope the tape still runs. My god,
Or on Laserdisc. Now you could do Laserdisc.
that's right. 'Cause it's indestructible.
Laserdisc.
Did you have the Dick Tracy watch too? Did I think I saw?
Yeah, so that was one. Again, this is the cheapie. I think it was the like we did a little promotion or whatever, and it came out, and they had a little
Wow.
LCD Dick Tracy watch. You know,
Oh, how
a little
cute.
cheap, but I think there was probably nicer ones. But this was a little one that they had.
Yeah, but it was so exciting. All of these specialty
Do you have
items.
your store watch?
Yeah, so that's what's
Okay.
cool too. Between me and Michelle, we've got a couple of these, and this is what, again,
The original,
didn't
yeah.
have to pay for these. These are things they
They
gave
gave
you.
you. Right.
So, you know, a Disney Store logoed watch.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just something that every cast member had. Everybody, you know, they used. It was funny that it was all one size fit all. You know, even if you had dainty wrists or big wrists, you got the
Right.
same little thing. But this to me was cool. This to me was special.
It was so special.
Yeah. These are the type of things that, you know, that would be the extra mile that they did.
Yes.
So I don't even know at what point they stopped doing this for everybody.
I don't know. I know when I was charged with redoing the costume, so we were moving off of this sweater to a new rendition of the sweater. That we came up with a new watch, which I have at home, but it was a Fossil watch, and then we put the Fab Five on the Fab Five was on the face.
Oh, nice.
And-
Was it kind of like the back of that jacket?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it was the Fab Five, and it was a Fossil watch. We actually got Fossil to produce them, and it came with a brown band. Which,
Interesting.
yes.
How about these watches?
Oh,
These, if you want to talk about a watch.
Oh, my
Quality
gosh.
control.
So wasn't this like was this a gift if you pre-ordered the video?
Yes.
Was that the gift with purchase?
So the
Yeah.
pre-order.
Eric, you let the
pre-order
water
watch.
leak out. Come on.
Do you remember
Yeah.
how many people came to us and they showed up like this,
Yes.
and we had to
Replace.
replace watches?
I remember.
Oh my gosh.
I the
It was
weirdest,
a headache.
The creepiest things we ever had with that watch, because it always leaked, and then the toothbrushes that played Mickey Mouse Club March. And if you threw the box, if you accidentally dropped the box, they would all go off at the same time.
Oh, I don't
And
even
this
remember
demonic-
that.
oh, yes.
I remember the watches, but
demonic
not the toothbrush.
Mickey Mouse toothbrushes.
Oh,
It was amazing what a cheap digital watch would do to get people.
Oh, I remember that.
was that the Fantasmic
still,
hologram?
still in the bag. So, oh no, actually, this is for. Was this Fantasia?
Yeah,
Oh, this is Fantasia. So this is when you ordered the box set for
Fantasia, excuse
Fantasia.
me.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
you
got
got that.
you got the limited edition Carousel, which I have somewhere in there,
Yes.
or
Yes.
print, and then that watch.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was people would pay a premium
Wow.
to pre-order it or
Yes.
put their name in.
I had forgotten, but look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, there was a corresponding button with it somewhere in
Of
this
course.
as well. So everything was, you know, we were kind of the walking billboards, and we would tell
Of
people,
course.
you know, check out Dick Tracy, check out Fantasia,
Right.
we're selling it, whatever. And
We
get
were
your-
the original Ricky Romas. Always be closing. Always be closing. Get some more VHS pre-sales. Come on.
Well, that was the cool thing, because I think a lot of it again goes back, you know, like Jackie showed the pins.
Right.
You know, I can go through all these and I'll just lay them out on here on this, but you
Yeah.
know, they had
Yes.
guest courtesy. So these were what everybody was not really. Not, you know, you weren't there to try to win these, but
I
these
saw
were
Right.
nice when you got them. People would write a letter to you that said you did a good job. Oh, see,
Right.
man, I love this attendance. We were just talking about this. You got an award just for showing up. That was so cool. I mean, they were like the first ones at participation award. Like we would.
But you know what's interesting about that? Like
Teamwork.
Oh, that's a good one.
how did you earn teamwork again?
I have
forgot.
no
I
idea.
forgot.
I don't know.
I think it had to be nominated by a manager.
I'm sure
I
I
think.
can't even imagine being a teamwork player.
And you know what's
But-
really sad?
I mean,
They used to-
you surprised you got it. I got it.
you want to know how old these are? This is what's sad.
Oh,
I think
yellow.
they used
They
to be
were
white.
white.
It's just they were white.
They were white.
They were
yeah.
white. Yeah, because okay, right. And then the guest
guest comment was green to start, and then if you got
You got more.
like a lot of them,
You
then
get
you would get
red
like
and
multiple
black.
colors.
Right.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Here's
So,
what I was going
yeah.
to say about the attendance, though. You're being funny of saying, you know, they're paying you for doing your job and just
you had to
showing up, right?
Show up every day in a row.
But remember, we were dedicated, but we worked in retail. So I mean, looking back, retail is one of the most flaky jobs for a lot of people.
That's true.
Yeah.
So attendance kind of was a big deal. They wanted, you know, Disney to stand out. You
Well,
know, I
let's-
understand.
Look at it, I got 4, 5, 6. I think I showed up every day I could. And it's because, you know, again, you wanted to.
You want
Yeah.
to.
And it was like, so these are all attendance ones, you know, there's just
Right.
tons of those.
Wow.
And then, no, I'm going to be a little boastful, only because I'm pretty excited about it. Even all these years later, was the Spirit Award pin,
Oh, I don't know that. Yeah.
which is, so that one never left. So that was a biggie. I don't even know how I got that one, but somebody nominated me for Disney Spirit.
Right.
Oh.
And that's when the like a VP calls you and tells you that, you know, it's this honor. And I went on.
That is so cool.
I didn't have the scoop anymore, so I actually found a guy on eBay.
Oh, that had your scoop?
And look at there I am.
Oh my
right
goodness.
there. This is the scoop. The scoop was the daily paper or the
Monthly.
monthly paper that they used to do.
There's that hair you were talking about.
Yep,
And it was a Disney Store scoop because they had a studio one
that's
as well.
right. Yeah, so I used that same guy
That
for
is
some
so
reason.
cool.
He had all these scoops and went back and basically bought the ones that I was in. And somehow
Right.
he had a little PDF. So
That was our
you could
newsletter.
read them, yeah.
Oh, I never even thought about that. So that means, because I don't think I have the ones that I'm in either.
Yeah, he's on.
So
he's
somebody's
on eBay.
got it.
Yeah, and what he would
Wow.
do is you could search it so you could see what was the contents of it. It was
Really?
really cool.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this is the one where there's stuff in here of us moving to to main
I
place.
kept all
Right.
the ones I was in.
Because well, now see this right here because we're talking about the trivia champion. So see, that's the one pin we're kind of missing here,
Yeah.
and shame on me because I didn't bring any of my pins. So because I was the trivia representative for our store
Right.
Yes,
for 3
that's
years,
right.
For 3 years.
and so I have that pin. I'll find a picture of
You'll
it.
have to
I'll,
shoot it, yeah.
I'll put it up anyway.
And then this,
But
we got a pin for
Yes.
going through traditions and
The training. Oh, and look who
training.
signed it.
And Stephen Warner.
And Stephen Warner, the
Stephen
elusive
A.
Stephen Warner.
Stephen A. Warner.
Stephen A. Warner.
We don't know what the A is for.
I don't. I don't.
I've got pictures of him. Yeah, I just don't really. We need to find out where he went.
We need to. If anybody knows Stephen Warner, he worked in retail. He grew up in Redlands. Please send him our way. And then, so this is the cool thing for me too, is that I was quite the amateur photographer. So I kept, and you can't even read it anymore, but it says, yeah, the Disney Store. So a lot of the photographs that we were looking at today were still sitting in this album at my mom's house.
Yeah.
All these years later. Oh my
All the
gosh.
pictures.
That one.
That's
There's
us.
Steven right there in that one. So you can hold
There's
it up
us
there.
at the original store at South Coast with
On the
Daisy's
roof.
Diner.
on the roof of the diner.
Right, we're so lucky we didn't go right through it.
How we didn't.
That was not made for us at all.
You want to show him this one?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Aww.
This is when Eric and I left the nest. This is when we left South
Go
Coast
to main place?
to go to Main Place.
Okay.
Look at Eric
Yeah.
from South Coast Plaza.
That was such a high quality sweatshirt. Why did I get rid of that?
That's my writing.
That was such
Is
a
it?
great.
Yeah.
You probably wrote that.
I did write that. That's me.
That is your writing.
That is totally my writing. Aww.
I still remember your writing. One of the best things, I had surgery when I worked at the store. I had nasal surgery. And Jackie said, in the card, she said, I can't wait for you to come back. Just don't pick your nose anymore.
Oh, shh.
The humor has never ended.
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
this is when you know it's old. You have a Polaroid of Plush Mountain. The
Right.
original Plush Mountain. No, that's the drive-in again.
This is the drive-in, right, like we were talking about. And again, there's the, like the old fiberglass, right, that they would actually have at drive-ins.
Yeah, so that we had to actually climb. That was so hard to climb
Climb
up there
into.
and
Yes.
fix all that every night.
And all the things you would find in the bottom of it.
oh yeah,
Kids' candy,
Kids' candy.
you know, just trash. Holy cow.
there you go.
Oh man, there we are again. So young, happy. And
Disney
just-
watch on our wrist. There you go.
Disney.
That's right. And is that
So
Darkwing Duck? I think.
Oh, probably.
Is
yeah.
that?
So here's a
That's
picture
exactly-
of the last day of the store being open.
Oh wow.
For the first
Our
remodel.
version.
Our version.
Right.
And then here would be
Wow.
the first day of the second version of South Coast opening, with Peggy in the front, of course.
There's Peggy.
Peggy. Hi there, Peggy.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah, old stuff.
And do you know what? Do you know what else didn't make it for after the remodel?
But-
Oh, where was that?
Well, we did a
No.
we did a whole story about that, but
That's awesome. Oh
it's
my
still
God.
alive. And do you know that this doorknob now lives in a complete psychedelic Alice in Wonderland bathroom?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'll
That's
show,
original
I'll show you the
store
picture.
stuff, huh?
Yes.
What was that on in the original store?
That was on the door to the window, the animation window.
Really?
The
So it was on-
animation.
Oh,
It was
I
a
don't
piece
remember
of the
that.
window.
So it was on the door. It was the doorknob facing the animation. So
Oh,
the door
oh, I see.
right
Got
up at
it.
the front.
Yeah.
So that was the doorknob.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, we didn't even talk about the gray pants. The gray
terrible-
pants. The gray pants are polyester sweatpants that would stick and
Emasculating gray pants.
Right.
Oh my god! And every hair on your leg would stick to it in the summer with the
Absolutely.
static electricity. Oh, it was horrible.
It was bad.
That was bad.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
why they came up with different pair of pants, khaki chinos, for the next recreation.
Oh,
which,
if I had only lasted that long.
which people hated.
Look at that.
Ah, Patrick and Tracy also
Oh, so cute.
South Coast alum.
So good,
My
Patrick.
God, we were kids.
Yeah. So yeah.
Look at
So
that.
sweet.
You like the that was the lemon in the hair to make the hair go
Oh
back.
my gosh, Captain
EO
EO.
premiere party.
Look at that.
Well, and the nice thing too is every year, every cast member would get like a special,
Yes.
a limited edition, print from an animator at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
You would get this. It would say thank you. This one's signed by, personally, signed by. No, I'm joking. By Bo Boyd, the president of Consumer Products, and so we'd get one every Christmas as a gift. So it was always nice.
And I gotta bring these up. I showed Jason these when we got together. But this
Oh,
is a little
wow,
gift
it
he
is.
gave me. So I think he probably had like a dozen sets. This is how much he went. But he went
What's this?
and got me. This
These
was
were the tickets
the
from
Dream
the
Machine.
35th birthday.
When you
oh,
could
that was
win.
the Dream Machine.
And
Oh.
I forget what occasion it was, but you walked up to me and you handed it to me in one of these
Aw.
rad old Disney ticket envelopes.
Oh yeah.
And basically,
Aw.
this is a complete set. But it's amazing. So that just shows you how many times he went. And these are the no wins.
These are the no wins. Exactly.
Sorry, no win.
Right. So there were 24 of those, and then you could win like a pin or something off of these, or you'd get the white ticket, which had the 35
gotcha.
logo on it, and then that would send you to the Dream Machine to win something bigger.
Yeah, I must have added some of mine to these. There's some duplicates and stuff like that, but it's so cool.
It was so, yeah.
Oh look, see, commemorative
Right,
pin. That
there's
was a winner.
There's a win.
Oh.
And then they would tear that end off.
Did anybody keep the map of the park? Remember when we had that whole contest?
You know what's really
Every time
funny
you
about you
purchase,
mentioning
yeah.
that is
Oh,
that
I think
I
Elliot has it.
had gotten rid of it, but Elliot re-gifted it to me about 2 years ago. So now I have.
I have the pin,
Now
but
I-
I don't
now I-
have the map.
Now I
Yes.
have it back.
Yeah, I got just multiples of the
Right.
pins.
Everybody had leftover pins because we
Yes.
couldn't get the maps in the
I
stock.
don't have a map, but I have all 5 pins.
That
and
was
then they had
such.
Mickey through the years too, which
Oh, I
is
don't
another one
remember that.
too.
That was
So
for
they
his 60th birthday. That's right, in
Oh.
'88.
Yeah, so they had all those. I'd have to lay those out, but boy, there's every little iteration of Mickey, which was cool. I mean, this is not Disney store related, but I also love that even at Disneyland they would do a seasonal pin. This is sad; it's all turned yellow again too. But they would give you a Christmas pin.
Right.
But between pins and buttons, they were very good about doing things to commemorate or mark the day
Right.
of stuff, and that's what it was for someone who wanted to go work for them on a much bigger level. It was sort of like it was a little bit of a dream come true. It was really
Yeah.
cool that they
Yeah.
would do these little things. You get a watch. Well, I got a watch, and I didn't have to do anything for other than just do the job that I wanted
Right.
to do.
You got
Right.
to
And
watch.
then it was just a
gummy bear photo of all of us.
Oh, wow. So that had to be Disney Afternoon.
That was, yes.
When
so
that was going on.
That was at Disney. That
Oh,
was one
the
of our.
hair.
I know. That was one of our Sunday nights.
What was her name right here?
Michelle Nold.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right. Michelle.
Michelle. I think she moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
You guys saved way more stuff and way better than I did. Like, I feel I had more stuff.
You had a lot of stuff.
I had
Where
an
did that
insane.
go?
I was like such a collector. I don't know, but over time, after I got married and started having kids and stuff, I weaned it out.
Yeah.
Like I barely have anything. But
Yeah.
oh my god, that was so cool. I love that we got together. I mean, this is just a very small group that we did to sort of like weave together these memories. But Jackie, you know, we've been in touch a lot, and Eric, I've followed you and Michelle for some time, and your great photography. I always love seeing on social media. But you had heard that the store was going to close, and like you put out a message. Like, let's talk about that for a sec.
Okay. Well, I had been following the one feed on Facebook, and had been hearing stores closing, and didn't think any of the real A stores, the original group would be affected. And then just happened to find on the website that it said 303 closing. And
303 being South Coast Plaza, the store we worked at.
Yeah. I mean, then once I had heard Glendale was closing, it was like, okay, I have no hope for any of these stores. Because
That's
Glendale being the
crazy.
first store.
Right.
And the
Like, no,
flagship
obviously
store.
there's no heart.
No,
to
there was nothing.
to what ones they're choosing. They're
Right.
just
There's no hands off of certain
Yeah.
stores. And so I just kept looking, and then the one day when it popped up on a Monday, and I looked and it said store closing, and it was just like, dang, that's that one hit, because there's just so many memories. When you're young, and we all have the drama of like so and so didn't do this, or when you're caught up in the moment of those times, you don't get along with people, or you have grievances or whatever, and it seems. But as time goes on, you forget about those things. There's unimportant, but you hold on. Excuse me. You hold on to the memories. You hold on to the relationships.
Of course.
Social media helped bring back those relationships that were lost.
Yeah.
And it just kind of tugged at my heart. I felt like I'm going to put my heart out here, and if anybody shows up and wants to come too,
Yeah.
let's give it a try.
Right. So Jackie put in the group of like, hey, I heard the South Coast is closing. Does anybody want to go down there? And I was like, yes. But of course, just like social media, I said yes, and then I went back to my regular life, and Jackie's like, well, did you mean it? And I'm like, well, yes, I did mean it.
Right.
And so you and I and Elliot went down.
Right.
And
Jen.
Right, and we met up with Jen. And the funny thing, we got a picture of the four of us there. So this was like the first mini reunion, and we go down there, and we're talking, and we're walking around the store, which we now are aware that's going to kind of have its last legs, and the man, and I made a smart ass remark before we walked in. I said, shocker! I said, we're gonna go in there. I go, and there's gonna be nobody there that even like knows the history or any of the stuff or whatever, right? Wrong. We walked by there, and we're just like milling around in the store, and the manager, it was Jill, right? Jill literally walks up and is like, hey, are you guys who used to work here? And we started talking to her for like probably a half hour.
Yeah.
And
They're there since '93.
forever. She sort of like picked up the torch basically kind of around when we left, because I don't remember her personally.
No.
But I was like, oh my God, so they have had somebody, a great steward, who did like take them all the, because now the store is closed, and so they did have somebody wonderful like take the store all the way to the end. And she saw way more years than we did. And it was so special and so cool. And even then, like when we were there, there was always, like a little weirdness sometimes of like taking photos, or now everybody's got, like live streams and stuff. So I was a little skittish in the store, but Jill's got the cast, and she's like, oh, okay, here, we'll make room here. You guys here, now take pictures. So they were like we're doing a photo shoot in the store. And then we decided, right, or Jackie, you decided, it was like, why don't we
Right. Well,
do
because
it
we came back, we met before they had announced that the store was actually closed.
before the official, yes.
And I had originally thought, wouldn't it be awesome to meet on the anniversary date, which was November 21st of '87. So wouldn't it be amazing to meet around November in the celebration of the anniversary? And we were told it won't be that long. So, and then like a week later, they posted that the store was closing.
Mm-hmm.
They gave a date. So, yeah.
So you put it out again.
I put it out again.
And now this time the group expanded. We got Eric this time. We got Michelle. We've got all the
got
people in the picture. We
Peggy,
got Peggy. Jen came back again. We had Tracy came, which was so
Someone
great. I haven't
found
seen
Tracy.
I know. She's around.
Isn't that the strange thing of that?
Her daughter worked at the Mission Viejo store.
Right. And as wonderful as social media can be, but also as intrusive as social media can be, there's people that we still could not find, like at all. Like no one has heard of Stephen Warner.
No.
I know. Where are you at, Steven?
Last
Or
time,
Doug Ward. Where
Doug
did Doug
Ward.
Ward go?
Doug.
There were so many people. I feel bad because now we're opening the box of who we're saying who we're not. But like, it was really it was so great that Jackie, you helped set it up and you set the date and we had people that came that were directly from our time department. So we can't possibly name like every single person, but it was so great that we did get another group together and went to South Coast Plaza, walked the store, took some pictures, had some lunch and shared old times.
Right.
Like, oh gosh, it was so great. But for anybody who did work at the stores, and had any of that experience that was like this, with us, not with us, at another store, please hit the comments. Tell us the rest of what we missed. Anything else, guys, before we wrap it up?
No, I just want to kind of cap what you said at the end there. I mean, it was really great to get together. I mean, it was 30 years. This is 30, that's a long time. And again, there has been little social media hits, and I have probably more in touch with you two via social media and Facebook and stuff. But getting together, kind of being in that situation, seeing some of those people that we hadn't seen in years, and it just picked up where we left off.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
It was so great.
Yeah, and even like when, with Elliot and stuff, like, we've been chatting online and stuff, and I've told him, I'm like, what happens next? Let's go have lunch, pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
That's really what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like it's just cool. Again, those common bonds are still there. The common interests are still there. You guys are still the same. I mean, as much as we've changed as human beings and our careers have gone places that we never would have dreamed they'd gone, we're still the same people.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool about it.
So true.
Very true.
No, I mean, it was very cool what you did, and it just kind of, the little kick in the pants that everybody needed to just get out and
It was because I mean, if you hadn't put this together, honestly, it would have just
Yeah,
closed, and
I
wouldn't have paid attention because I'm not at South Coast
Plaza. I really wanted to
Plaza.
see the store, and it brought on a lot of emotion just to see the store. I mean, it was nothing like we worked, right? And it was in a different location.
Yeah, but
So,
Right.
but it was still that energy that's there. And,
Absolutely.
you just feel for the people that are impacted now.
they're us. They're basically us.
Right.
That's I see it. I see it in everything they post. When you
Yeah.
watch all the other stores closing, everybody is saying the same things that we say, just at a different time.
Absolutely.
They've all made friends that'll last them a lifetime. They've all said that. And it's funny, I was looking at one of the old scoops, and it was like, that was what I wrote when I got one of these words. I just said, I made more friends here at the store than I'd made in my entire life. Well, at that point, I was pretty young. But it still holds true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that we're here all these years later and we're still able to talk and be friendly and reminisce about all that cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank
Pleasure.
you for watching. Really appreciate that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the comments, hit all of that. We really appreciate you being here. This was What Was It Like Working at the Disney Store? And again, this isn't the end all be all. Tell us the rest of the story that we missed. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye guys.